you made Jacob a priority from the beginning. Just talk about how that relationship developed between you and him, and then when he left here last week, and how confident did you feel that he was on board?
Well, you know what? Early on, he had a great relationship. Even when he called and said, "Coach, I'm gonna decommit and take visits," and I appreciated that. And we had a great conversation. He said, "I still love Florida. I can't wait to come visit Florida, get to know you, get to know everybody in the new staff." So everything was handled right. I mean, we communicated with him the whole time. I think obviously there was comfort with the university. There was comfort in coming and representing his home state. There was comfort in he got to go to the Under Armour All-American game and go play with several of our commitments that are already enrolled in school. I think there's comfort when he showed up on his visit that he could sit down with those guys and say, "Hey, you've been here for 3 weeks. What's it like now? I know you just got here. What's it like to be new here?" And so I think there was a great deal of comfort for him. Over the last 72 hours and talking to him every time, I think he's had a lot of stress put on him. A lot of people trying to pull him in different directions. And the one thing I always told him is just say, "Hey, you got to block that out. You got to see and know what's best for you and your future." And and it was great to see even with his announcement today. When he said he knew, when he sat down and he did a lot of soul searching. And a lot of praying, and he found that, he knew in his heart this is where he belonged. That's what you want out of this process. A lot of people look at recruiting as a game. It's not. You're talking about young people's lives and their futures. And when you have a young man that can sit down there and say, with all of this stress and pressure, people telling me I need to do this or need to do that, and, coach is saying this or saying that. When I can sit down and I know in my heart I'm going to the place I belong, everybody in the country should be excited he came here to the University of Florida, because that's a young man living his dream and doing what's in his heart. And I think that really is what this is all about.
And as you go about fixing this offense, so to speak, how many of these guys, including the guys from December, do you see making an impact immediately next fall?
Well, you know what? I can't say because we haven't even been on the field yet. I see our guys working. They're buying in. That's what's really exciting. I'm seeing the guys I haven't seen resistance for the guys that, not just the new guys, but guys that are even in the program. I haven't seen resistance, which is fantastic because you know what? When they made a decision to come to the University of Florida, they came here for the tradition, they came here for the university, they came here for all of those things. But the program has changed a little bit. Maybe some of the ideals within the program or how we're running the program has changed a little bit. And I'm really excited about their buy-in. There is no resistance. The work ethic and how they show up and the attitude they've had of working, I'm really excited about. Now, we got to see, hopefully, these guys continue to develop and get a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger, a little better shape. And, once we hit spring ball, we'll see what anybody can do. Everybody gets worried about the quarterbacks. I can't throw with them right now. I can't even be there with a football with them. So, hopefully we can complete a pass on air or something like that. I know last time I took over a head coaching job, that was a challenge. It didn't look real good on air. That was without a defense. I couldn't imagine what it's going to like once we put the defense in front of them. So, but these guys, I like the attitude they have. And the new guys are really buying in, and the nice thing the new guys have is they signed on for this. So even the ones that enrolled mid-semester, they got a chance to sit down with me and know what my expectations are going to be. So they know what to expect walking in the door. But I'm really excited about the buy-in for the guys that were already here.
Zach in front.
And you mentioned the research that you guys did and how that kind of helped this class come together. And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about that, kind of the experience that comes with that research. Because when you guys came into this class and some of the recruits that you guys landed, you guys were not the favorites for probably a month, 2 months ago. You guys had ground to make up. How did you guys go about identifying who you felt like were the best guys to take your shot with? Because it seemed like every trip that you guys had and guys that you brought in, that it was very strategic, that you guys felt like you had a shot with.
Well, it was because we were looking at our roster spots, but also, like I said, to me, it wasn't about okay, we want to recruit this many guys at this position. Hey, there's a spot here, but we're not going to take somebody unless we feel they fit the program. And So, when we made guys, we kind of singled guys out of how important they are, that they fit our program. We identified this is a guy that we want. We went, our coaches worked their tail off to have them come be part of our family and understand what it is to be a Florida Gator. And so there was that strategy. They're guys that we didn't get today. I'm much more concerned about the guys we got.
Yeah.
As I sit there and I go to sleep tonight, I just hope every one of these kids made decisions for all the right reasons. If they did, because they're going to have the opportunity wherever they want then to be successful in their lives. That's important. I'm excited about the guys we got and excited about the research we're able to do and the decisions we make. As you said, we're very strategic of how we planned it out, especially with this second signing day.
Yeah.
The first signing day, the benefit of having the two signing days, you actually take a breath in between and look and say, okay, now we have these spots, but again, who's going to fit where and who are we going to take to fill those spots, and and try to put it all together.
And then as a follow-up, just to have the success that you guys had closing well in the early signing period now today, just how confident do you feel moving forward that you guys were able to get this much traction early? What can you do with the full recruiting cycle?
Well, hopefully a lot. I have really high expectations for the program, and and I know a lot of people do, and trust me, I'll put my expectations up there against anybody. And what they expect with this program. So, and our coaching staff, they understand and they know that it is that we want to build a program that's going to compete for championships on a yearly basis. And to do that, you need to do a great job recruiting. You get a great job, in every aspect of recruiting, whether it's the evaluation or the recruiting, and then when they get on campus, the development of the players to put them in a position to be successful. And that's really important for us, and hopefully we continue to grow and continue to build, and every year we have a better signing class than we had the year before.
Mark, up front to the left.
You mentioned being able to take a breath between the signing dates. Do you have any different feelings about the early signing period now, and any tweaks you'd like to see going forward?
No, I liked it. I always like to see how things work before you just go tweak it right away. I think it was pretty successful, the early signing day, and I think everybody learned. I'd love to see how it plays out over another year to 2 to 3 years, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, this is a way we could possibly improve it now that we've been through it a couple of years. But I'm for it. I saw a lot of benefits. One of the big benefits I saw within the early signing day is, one, financially, you're not taking trips to see every kid every single week, even though they're committed to you. You have the opportunity, and especially me as the head coach, having the opportunity to get into high schools, okay, and sit down and talk to high school coaches and meet high school coaches. Because as of Saturday, I'm not allowed to go on the road recruiting again until September to potentially go to high school games, which I'm not a huge fan of coach, because you gotta be here. I want to be here coaching the team here. So if you do that, it's really till after Thanksgiving of next year. I don't go on the road again for me to go meet and talk and sit with high school coaches face to face. So I think the early signing day opened up a window for the opportunity to get out there and really just do some more recruiting as a head coach, and not even with the prospects, with the coaches, and getting to know the coaches.
Graham, up front.
I know everyone says commit to a school, not a coach, but your relationship with Griffin McDowell dating back nearly half a year, how did that lead you to scout him to Florida and a guy who wasn't on your radar 2 months ago?
Well, he's a guy that I'm a big believer. We had him in multiple camps. And so when you had the opportunity to have him in camps, and you're coaching and teaching him and see how he responds, and then you get to watch him on film and his growth from his junior to his senior year. Then you get to find out the competitive nature. And he's one of those guys that, so when you do your homework, you know an awful lot about, both as a player, as a person, as a student, and you know an awful lot about him. And, one of the things is I wanted to, his recruiting maybe was a little different. That I know he had been committed to Mississippi State after we left. we kind of let a little gap go and let him digest and maybe talk and meet to the new coaches and figure out what his future is. And but he's a player I know I always wanted on my team. You know, I mean, he wasn't going to wrestle because of all the recruiting stuff, and then he's going to the state wrestling meet. You know, and it's just got to compete. And those are the guys that I love. And so after the dust settled a little bit, gave him that opportunity. I said, hey, is there interest? And he said, absolutely. You know, it's 2.5, 3 hours from his house. The opportunity to come here, stay close to home, be near his family, and obviously come to the University of Florida. He was really excited about it. And so I'm really excited about him because you know so much about him. And you know, one of the things I think you get in trouble as a coach sometimes, you all of a sudden you know so much about one guy, and then you just see like a quick highlight film of somebody else, and you get all excited about this new guy that you don't really know much about, and you know all the good and bad about somebody else, that you can fall for the new quick shiny 5-minute highlight video. You got to be really cautious as a coach that you do your proper research and you know exactly who you're getting as a player. And with Griffin, we know exactly who we're getting.
Edgar and then Thomas.
Where's the helicopter?
Huh? I don't know, you know? I mean,
Well,
they were saying that was a big deal. Like, I've been doing that for years.
Okay.
You know, I was kind of like, you know, everyone's like, wow, we're using a helicopter. I'm like, even Steve's like, is that your first ride in a helicopter? I'm like, no, I've been using that for years. Get high school games and cruise around.
Go to work.
The state of Mississippi. You know what, I was thankful? I always want 2 pilots because I don't know how to fly it myself if one of them goes down. Right? If they need to call the bullpen, they can go to somebody else. But I've been in some different ones now too. I've been in the bulb. And I've been in the bulb with John Hevesy. And he moves to look out the window and the whole thing tips out. I'm like, don't move again, man. Just sit still. I've been up there and like with the little bulb one time, the guy's like, hey, we got to put it down. I don't feel good about this right now. Get it down. I don't know who I was with, the assistant coach. He didn't get back on. I ended up going to the game. He's like, I'll meet you there or something. Or, coach, if I need to turn in my resignation, I do, but I'm not getting back in. I'm like, well, the pilot's not going to take off if he don't feel good about himself. So.
What was it thinking? I mean, that's just something you did.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's,
don't think
you know
it makes
what?
a splash?
I'm sure it makes a splash, but I mean, it's getting around. Recruiting, you know, I mean, as I said, there's such a small window for me as head coach to get around to see everybody, and you want to get from one place and jump around from place to place. You know, it's something I imagine in the future that we'll continue to do and probably do even more, especially you get into, especially around the state. You know, if you're in a metropolitan area, I'd rather be visiting with high school coaches than sitting in traffic. You know, and I'd probably rather be visiting with high school coaches than driving 45 minutes to an hour through the country to get from one school to the next. So, you know, it's something that we'll continue to do. And, you know, I mean, we use the plane. We use planes and fly around from city to city to see guys, and it's something we probably will continue to do in the future.
You were